I mentioned the other day in that video about Wisconsin removing that racist rock, that damn rock. It's such a racist. I mentioned the fact that the Black Student Union on campus was actively seeking out racism. Well, we can now add the Colorado Rockies to that list. You guys may notice I am very rarely the first to report on something. There's a reason for that. And this story about the Colorado Rockies is the reason. It is not always better to be the first person to report on something. I would rather be right than be first. This is the same reason I was hesitant to criticize Simone Biles a couple of weeks ago. I would rather gather all the information on a story, then give you my opinion on it, instead of having a few facts here and there and rushing to YouTube to get my video out and be the first one to do it. The Colorado Rockies embarrassed themselves on Sunday night. The Marlins were in town to play the Rockies in a game that no one really watched or cared about. The biggest story coming out of that game is what we're talking about right now. Towards the end of the game on Sunday, there was a fan sitting behind home plate. He was pointing to his right. He was yelling at the mascot, whose name is DINGER. DINGER. DINGER, okay? Now, does that sound anything like the N word to you? Yeah, doesn't to me either. Wokers everywhere claim that the fan was yelling the N word at Lewis Brinson, who plays for the Marlins. Now, let's just pretend for 1 second that that's actually what the fan was doing, yelling the N word at one of the Marlins players. If that were actually the case, he is the worst person in the world in calling someone a racial slur, because not one player on the field reacted to what he said. None of the players reacted because he was clearly yelling at the mascot. He wasn't talking to anyone on the field. The Colorado Rockies, just like wokers everywhere, they couldn't let facts get in the way of a good racial story. Check out the statement they put out immediately after the game. Quote, "The Colorado Rockies are disgusted at the racial slur by a fan directed at the Marlins' Lewis Brinson during the ninth inning of today's game. The Rockies have zero tolerance for any form of racism or discrimination. Blah, 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 blah." I'm not going to bore you with the rest of the statement. It was the typical statement of another organization bowing down to the far left, because that's exactly what the Rockies did. Instead of waiting and actually investigating the incident before passing judgment, the Rockies rushed a statement because they were reacting to what they were seeing on social media. And it's not like this is hard to investigate. This is a Major League Baseball game. There are cameras everywhere. I watched the video myself. I watched it about 10 times because before I came on here and talked to you about it, I wanted to be sure there was nothing to this story that you couldn't misconstrue it one way or the other. I wanted to be sure he was yelling DINGER. In the video, it is abundantly clear what's going on. The dude is pointing at the mascot. You can hear him plain as day. He's yelling DINGER. I guarantee you can take this to the bank. The Rockies, they're going to end up changing the name to their mascot. We can't have the name of our mascot be misconstrued for a racial slur in the future. It might hurt someone's feelings. We must make a change in the name of racial justice. It is amazing how quickly the woke media jumped all over this story. Now, you won't find any of it now. No, you're not going to find it now. They've all updated their sites to what actually happened. But in the beginning, they were all over this story. Rockies fan shouts racial slur to Marlins player. Sunday night, this story was all over the place. Today, if you Google Colorado Rockies racial slur, only 3 pages of results will come up. The far left was quick to erase this story. Now, compare the overreaction to the Rockies fan to what happened on ESPN yesterday. Antonietta Collins is an anchor on SportsCenter. I've never heard of her before, And what I'm about to share with you doesn't mean I want her canceled or called out. We don't promote cancel culture here on the channel. I am merely bringing this up to you to show you the difference in the reactions between the Rockies fan and Antonietta Collins by the far left. Now, I've never heard of her before because I don't watch ESPN. Neither do the rest of you, apparently, because their ratings remain in the tank. Matter of fact, we might do a ratings update on ESPN later this week. I hadn't talked about it in a while. Maybe I'll get some time this week. We can do a ratings update on ESPN. It just takes a lot of time to do it because the information isn't as readily available as the ratings are for the NFL, the NBA, or the Olympics. Anyway, Antonietta Collins, she's on SportsCenter, and she's talking about a Major League Baseball game. Someone in the game hits a home run. She's describing the play, and she clearly means to say DINGER. But she says the N-word instead, then corrects herself. Two things immediately came to my mind when I heard about this story. The first thing, where is the reaction from the media? Where's the outrage? We cannot allow this blatant racism to take place on our airwaves. We must fire this woman immediately. Where the hell's the outrage? This story has barely made a blip on the national radar. I don't know a white male who was on SportsCenter today, which shows how little impact ESPN now has. So I'll have to go into the Wayback Machine for this example, but imagine if Dan Patrick was on SportsCenter and he accidentally said the N-word or Tony Kornheiser. Pick a white male, it doesn't matter which one, they're all inherently racist. If that were to happen, a white male said it, the media would be all over this story. That dude would have to issue an apology. Now, here's the second thing that came to my mind, and this is the conspiracy theorist in me coming out. This makes a lot of sense, though, when you think about it, because I have zero faith in ESPN. I would not put it past them to do something like this. This incident with Antonietta Collins, it happened in the same 24-hour news cycle as the Colorado Rockies story. Now, that's one major coincidence, that a fan yells DINGER and is accused of yelling the N-word, and Antonietta Collins is on SportsCenter and says the actual N-word when she meant to say DINGER. Now, you might be wondering, KC, why would they do that? They would do it to erase any and all doubt that what the fan in Denver said was actually the N-word. After all, another white person said it on national TV 12 hours later when she meant to say DINGER instead. You have to understand, the N-word is on white people's minds all the time. Look at this example. Clearly that fan, even if he didn't say the N-word, he meant to say it. It's the inherent racism coming out of him because he was born evil. I'm not kidding. I am not kidding. That is how these people think. I know it's twisted. I know it's demented, but it's true. These are some strange people that we are dealing with. Once you know the mind of the far left, though, it's not hard to predict how they're going to react to something. Anyway, time to let me know what you think. Give me your thoughts on the Rockies jumping the gun on the fan yelling DINGER. Also, are you surprised there was very little reaction to Antonietta Collins? Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com. KC_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys later.